outside a building that is known today as Kever Dan Ben Yaakov, the tomb of Dan, the son of Jacob. Of course, everyone knows Dan. Dan was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, who became the father of one of the 12 tribes of Israel, the tribe of Dan. And Samson was from the tribe of Dan. So this tomb is connected to the story of Samson, no matter how we look at it. But the question is, where is the tomb of Samson? Because we know that at the end of the story of Samson, it says that he was buried in the tomb of his fathers between Tzorah and Eshtaol. Now, some people place the tomb of Samson up at the top of the mountain of Tzorah, and we've seen that location where there's people praying there at what they think is the tomb of Samson. But it's very hard to accept that that is truly the tomb of Samson for one simple reason. It's not between Tzorah and Eshtaol. It is right at the top, at the peak of the ancient city of Tzorah. And we know the Israelites did not bury generally inside the city, they buried outside the city. And the Bible says that he was buried between Tzorah and Eshtaol. So the question is then, why is there a tomb of Samson here, and who put it here, and how did it end up in this location? And so it seems that the answer goes back to the early days of the state of Israel. You see, when the state of Israel was established, the state was missing one really important thing, which is the old city of Jerusalem, the Western Wall, the Temple Mount, the holiest site on earth for the Jewish people, the Temple Mount. And the new state of Israel needed to provide places of worship, holy places for people to go to on pilgrimages and to go pray, to feel connected. And since they didn't have all the holy sites inside Jerusalem, they gave a mandate to the Ministry of Religious Affairs, the rabbinate essentially, to identify as many holy sites, graves of tzaddikim, of righteous people, biblical sites, and so on and so forth all over the country, that they would be able to mark as Jewish holy sites and to provide pilgrimage routes for tourists and for locals to be able to go pray there. And this site was first identified as the tomb of Samson as part of that campaign to mark and identify holy sites for people to go on pilgrimage. And at that time they marked this as the tomb of Samson based on some very loose information, let's say, some very questionable information. They marked it as the tomb of Samson, and at first it was just like a sign here and a pile of stones, and stage by stage this place developed more and more until now you have this beautiful double tombstone over the site marking it as the tomb of Samson and Manoach, his father. But it's very unlikely that this is the original site of the tomb of Samson. What's really amazing is that this place where we're standing, that's known today as the tomb of Dan, actually sits right between Tzorah and Eshtaol. And what's more amazing is that the tradition of the Arabs who lived in this area before 1948 is that they call this place Sheikh Hareb. Sheikh Hareb, it means the mighty Sheikh, the strong one. And who could be this mighty, strong person who they're referring to? Could it be Samson? It could possibly be. There are some Jewish travelers who came here during the Middle Ages who said that they were shown the tomb of Samson in this location. And so it's very possible that this is the tomb of Samson. Why might it be called the tomb of Dan? You know, in the ancient times, Jewish people used to bury in family tombs. Every family maintained a burial cave, and generation after generation after generation will be buried in the same cave. And so when the book of Judges tells us that Samson was buried in the tomb of his fathers between Tzorah and Eshtaol, it's very feasible, it's very easy to believe that this could indeed be the burial tomb of Dan, the son of Yaakov, whose bones were brought out of Egypt, buried here, and it became the area of the burial tomb of all the important people of the tribe of Dan, who would have been buried all together in the same tomb. And so it's very possible that both of these traditions are correct, that this is indeed the tomb of Dan, the son of Yaakov, Jacob, and at the same time that it is the tomb of Samson. And so when I come here to connect to the souls of our patriarch, our forefather Dan, who was the son of of Jacob, but I also have in mind that this could very well be the last resting place of Samson.